Alright, welcome to the CineShow Podcast. This is one of our special retro reviews. I'm Jamie and...
I'm Matt.
And this episode is going to be...
The Breakfast Club. Don't you forget about me.
Yeah, I won't ever.
Thank you.
The Brekkie Club, yeah, as I would say in Grimsby.
Yeah. Great name for a restaurant, though, if you were just going to do breakfasts.
Right, so
the Breakfast
as it happens...
Club, all day breakfast. You serve breakfast all day.
As it happens, London has a branch of breakfast clubs, and there's always a fucking queue outside the door.
Really?
Yeah.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah. We digress. So, so what year?
Well, we're here is, the Breakfast Club of 1985, but what I'd like to do, because we did promise our viewers, and let's just say that you can like, you can subscribe, you can also listen to this on Spotify, and if you do, please do follow us on Spotify. We have some comments from our last retro review, which was on RoboCop.
Yep.
And I'm just going to read them out, because Cookie Cook says, brilliant. Cookie, of course, was on the show. Thanks for having us back, lads. Paramedic Pete says, Rob and I talk about how graphic it was seeing this when we were younger.
Yeah.
It was very graphic, RoboCop. Stuart Steele says, after all these years, I still can't watch Murphy getting gunned down. It's horrific. But watching the movie as an adult, there is so much more to this movie I missed as a kid. It's a masterpiece.
Yes.
Thank you, Stuart. Jason Clee says, Dead or Alive, you're coming with me. Great episode, lads. Good to meet myself and Cookie in the shop. Jace from Clee did come into the shop. Fennis Wolf 9017 says, nice review. Don't forget to give Black Dynamite a look, because Ferris Wolf came in and we were talking about, he bought Black Dynamite on DVD, which is like a parody of the old blaxploitation films.
Oh, okay.
Scott said, love listening to this. This is one of my favourite films. And it's funny watching the edited version of RoboCop for TV. Now, he sent a link and I watched this. And it's basically YouTube. Someone's done put on YouTube, and it's all like the differences between the original cut and what they put on TV.
I need to watch that.
And it's very, very amusing. In fact, I replied saying there's one line that they changed, so instead now it says, you are going to be, when he basically wakes him up for the first time and says, you're going to be a bad motherfucker. Yeah. They changed it to, you are going to be a bad mother crusher. And
that sounds horrible.
Carneyback 1988 says, near perfect movie except for the monkey-armed Dick Jones puppet plummet.
Yeah, when he's
which we brought up. The only special effect that looks awful.
That's actually akin to, weirdly, when you watch Alien, when they kick the alien out of the airlock.
Yeah, very stiff.
Yeah. So but the alien's got a reason for the arms to be that long. But it just reminds me of that. I don't know how they got that so wrong, but yeah.
Okay, so The Breakfast Club.
Do you
want the stats? 1985.
Yep.
Directed by John Hughes, master of 80s teen films.
Yep.
Such as Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah.
All those great 80s teen
it's
films.
Great, and obviously defined, like a lot of people who were born in the 70s, defined their sort of like childhood a little bit. A lot of his films, but one film I would probably scrub from his thing is 16 Candles. I think that's a bit.
I haven't seen it that recently, so I actually came up to watch after I'd been watching this.
But other than that, it was just a hit factory.
So stars Molly Ringwald, Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Ali Sheedy, Judd Nelson, Paul Gleason, who I love. Now, Paul Gleason plays the principal Vernon.
Yeah.
And he also had a really good part in Die Hard. Remember, he comes up as the police guy. So let's take a little look at The Breakfast Club.
It is now 7:06. You have exactly 8 hours and 54 minutes to ponder the error of your ways. Any questions?
Yeah. Does Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
A brain, a beauty, a jock, a rebel, and a recluse.
Can't believe this is really happening to me.
Before this day is over, they'll break the rules.
Chicks cannot hold their smoke. That's what it is.
Bare their souls.
I'm a nymphomaniac.
Are your parents aware of this?
Take some chances.
Being bad feels pretty good, huh?
And touch each other in a way they never dreamed possible.
Why'd you do that?
Because I knew you wouldn't.
the Breakfast Club. They only met once,
I don't want to be alone anymore.
You don't have to be.
but it changed their lives forever.
What we've got essentially is a phenomenon, in a sense that I personally think, if this movie was to be made now, and a movie like this could be made now, a single location movie with just a group of characters in one location talking, it would be made.
Yeah.
We have seen talky type stuff. The fact that it did so well and was put out by a major studio, and I think generated something like, in our money, nearly 200 million in its box office run.
Yeah.
I don't think would happen now. I think films one location, just characters, just talking, would get made, but they wouldn't be received in the same way.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So that is quite crazy to think about.
Yeah, but I think that's a change.
How well
I think that's a change in the times.
Yes, it is.
Like if one battle after another struggling to make its money back, then films like that would, in today's climate, would definitely not do very well. But then I guess films like that that are made now, their budgets tend to reflect that, so it's less of a risk.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like big phenomenal box office versus budget, yeah, they're kind of like gone in that sense.
So what we have in the Breakfast Club is a simplified cross section of the youth in America at high school. We have Molly Ringwald is the kind of the princess character. Emilio Estevez is the athlete or the jock. Anthony Michael Hall is the nerdy brain guy. We've got Judd Nelson, he's the criminal guy. And then we've got Paul Gleason as the head teacher. Which nowadays you would think, well, that's quite lazily written. You've quite easily just picked five very strong things.
Yeah, you have to do really well then to convince people to say that they've got something in common by the end, because you've gone so far with that person's personality, and he does that.
Yeah. No, he does. I think the writing's really good. So we start with, well, the filmmaking as a whole is really good. So in the first kind of few minutes, we got everybody being dropped off at detention, and you know straight away all about those characters just from the interactions they have, from even the way they walk into the building. They're all in Saturday detention together. The head teacher, Vernon, comes in and says basically they've got to write an essay on who they are and kind of think about why they're there for the 8 hours that they're in there.
Yeah.
And that is basically just the simple premise of the film.
Yeah, again, and when you say it like that, it does make it more of a feat that it did.
So I watched this over the last last couple of days, and it still entertains all the way through. Now there are themes still in it, so there's still toxic masculinity. Some of the stuff between Judd Nelson and Molly Ringwald goes quite far, and how that resolves would kind of suggest that it's kind of okay to be a bit like that, because you ended up getting with the girl, because they kind of get together at the end. You've got stuff around bullying, popularity's in there, really big theme in there, which is still obviously a big thing now, and the socials, and everybody wanting to make sure that they're liked and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be easily adaptable, but the way things have changed between now and then, I think I don't think it'd be accepted if you didn't make it a 3-hour film, because you'd have to, every single element of you'd have to explain it away.
There are actually some quite hard-hitting scenes. A particular one that jumps out is when Bender, which is Judd Nelson's character,
acting out like his dad.
So he's doing kind of role play. He starts off doing a role play of Brian, and what his family life must be like, and then does his own, and that
shows some evidence.
So then he's got the cigar burn that he showed because the people don't believe him and say he's full of shit. Also, the scenes between, again, Bender and the principal, when they're facing off against each other right at the beginning, they're arguing, and he's just layering more detentions on top of him, and he's kind of keep them coming, and then there's a point where he gets separated from the group into the broom cupboard or whatever, and there's a standoff with the principal in there, which gets quite close to getting kind of physical. But ultimately, it's like a, again, strange how it did so well, because it's kind of a kids' film, but it's a grown-up theme.
Yeah.
It's a drama.
So in
there
that
is
sense,
comedy in
is
there.
it coming of age?
Yeah.
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 Textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get to know each other over the course of the film. He gets separated, he comes back in, he gets the drugs out of his locker, they all kind of get stoned and kind of bond over that. But there are certain times where you think, oh, they're actually coming together, and then something happens or some dialogue changes and they come apart again and then back together again. But none of it is dull.
No.
The interactions are all good. The acting's absolutely brilliant.
So writing, characters driven, the acting's really good. One thing I will say is that it might sound weird because it's an ensemble piece and it's known for being an ensemble piece, but Judd Nelson and Judd Nelson's character, maybe just what Judd Nelson did with it, I do feel like he even stands out as a lead. Even though there'd be no leads in this, it'd be like, it's an ensemble cast. It does still feel like he's the lead in the film.
He's kind of pulling most of the strings that get people kind of interacting in the first place. He's the first one to kind of speak and start kind of messing about.
He keeps the story going. Yeah.
So we got the music, so the 80s soundtrack, the Don't You Forget About Me, which kind of propelled Simple Minds to being a well-respected kind of almost kind of punk band back in the kind of late 70s, 80s, to propels them to kind of mainstream pop rock gods. And the way it ends, it doesn't feel like that's the clever thing with it, I guess. It doesn't feel like, oh well, they've just kind of made it so they all get on in the end and that wouldn't have really happened. It does genuinely feel like there would have been some bonding in there, some connections made because of the dialogue and the conversations that they've had. And
based off of that, I don't think it was like cut and dry either. I don't think it's trying to say at the end that when he walks off and he's given a thing, that means that they're all hunky-dory and they're all gonna, that means they're all pals from that moment on. It's just like that window of time might develop into a certain level of respect or whatever.
And there's a good bit as well where Claire's character, where they're talking as well about that, and Brian saying, if you saw me in the hall after we've spent all this time together, would you say hello? And she's very honest and says, no, I wouldn't. I still wouldn't say hello because my friends would then make fun of me for talking to me like you. So it finishes off with Brian writes the essay for all of them, basically saying, you've kind of decided we are these people, we are these characters, and reels off that one's a princess, one's an athlete, one's a criminal, and so on. Whereas actually there's a lot more to us, and take time to see us for who we are, as opposed to. There's the bit with the teacher as well, where you can see that the way he acts towards them, he calls Brian Pee-wee. You can tell how he interacts with Bender that he's kind of reinforcing their own opinions of themselves. So he's not helping the case. The only other character in it really is the janitor, Carl. Who actually you see at the beginning when they're going into the high school, and it's showing a montage of shots that he's on the wall as kind of the class of whatever it was, and he's ended up as the janitor. But he's kind of the wise one, I guess, who kind of sees everything that's going off. So I was trying to think of where we were in the UK with this kind of stuff, when the Americans were doing all the Ferris Bueller's and your Pretty in Pinks and all that kind of stuff. And
Rita Sue and Bob too.
So ours was kind of the only thing I found, and I did a bit of research because I couldn't think of anything, was Gregory's Girl was around.
That's a great film.
So it's kind of similar, but grittier. Because we are a bit grittier, I guess. But then if you really want to expand it, you've got Breakfast Club, or let's say you've got Pretty in Pink, and you've got This Is England.
Wow.
Or Train Spotting. I mean, Train Spotting is 90s, so we're not that far off.
Into the 90s,
But do you know what I mean? We didn't really do. But then
we've always kind of. I feel like we've always kind of. It's only recently in the last 10-15 years that some of our films, especially teenage films, they've kind of lent a bit more back into like the American style.
That's because we've become more American, isn't it? We've got proms and stuff now and all that kind of stuff. But if you think about it, we weren't really churning out those same anywhere near the same amount of kind of teen stuff.
So then it begs the question about it couldn't have been because it did quite well here. It couldn't have been necessarily relatable outside of the dialogue.
Well, I think it can because of the characters, because we still have those here. I don't know where I fit in. Where were you then? Which of the five were you?
Probably all of them.
I was probably all of them apart from the athletes.
That was a Princess Jock.
Princess Jock. Yeah, I was probably all of them apart from the athletes. I wasn't at all athletic, but I could probably see myself in the other films.
What was you, a criminal?
Yeah, there were elements of that.
Wow.
Elements of being a bit swatty. You went through various phases, didn't you? I think that was the thing as well. A lot of those characteristics you changed, didn't you? You changed age and went to do different things.
Yeah. So, favourite scene?
Favourite scene is a very small scene actually, but it's where Bender very cleverly takes the screw out of the door closing mechanism.
Yeah.
So they can the office between where Vernon is and them is there's a door between.
There's a line about losing screws or something.
Yeah, but then Vernon's trying to prop the door open, and everything he tries basically don't work. So he starts off with a chair, and it literally, the power of the thing just flies the chair across the room.
Yeah.
And then he puts the leaflet display counter thing up against that, but then Bender shouts, you can't put that there because it's a fire hazard. I just like, for some reason, I just like that he's trying to get the door open in the end.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit more cliche in the fact that when they all sit down and they all start unveiling why they're there and stuff like that, I think that's the one that actually turns it into a different film. Yeah. That's that moment where it's like, oh, I'm watching something different to what I thought I was watching.
Well, even the lunches that they bring is to do with the characters as well.
Yes.
Just seeing that. So so Claire has
all these little
sushi.
Signifiers,
Bender's got no lunch because his mum and dad abuse him basically, and he didn't get anything.
Reason why he didn't get dropped off as well.
Yeah, Emilio Estevez has got all the protein stuff and all the bananas and fruits.
Yeah, it's good. Well thought out. Right, so that's
we should say that it's on at Parkway Cinema.
Yes, it is on at Parkway on what date?
Breakfast Club is on Monday the 30th of March for one night only.
March at Parkway Cinema in Cleethorpes. Right, get watching it, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you later.